Okay, this is just a short tutorial on how you use Camtasia Studio. The main reasons for using this are if you want to edit videos, so I'll show you later on how you can upload a video or import a video into this and then edit it. It can also be used as a screen capture tool. So for example, if you have a PowerPoint presentation, you want to record yourself going through those slides and talking over them, you can use Camtasia to do that. Or for example, if you want to show somebody how to find a specific thing on the intranet or on the web, and instead of giving them written instructions or verbal instructions, you want to physically record yourself going through that process, then Camtasia is also a good tool for that. Okay, so to start off with then, I'm going to show you how you would go about recording what's on your screen. So what you would do is to click here where it says record the screen. And then what it brings up for you is this bar. It has a few different options in there. As you can see, I've got a few things turned on at the moment, like having my cursor highlighted so you can see where my clicks are happening. You don't need to have all of these things there, but there are some of them that you will want to have on. For example, your audio, and some of you might want to use your camera as well. So this is the toolbar that helps you control what you have turned on when you're recording your screen. Now what I tend to do usually is to record the whole screen. You can, if your Camtasia has been installed correctly, it'll link up with PowerPoint, so there is a way of going into PowerPoint and recording from there, but I find it works better just to go into Camtasia, to click record the screen, and then start recording by using that toolbar. So what's happening now, that's what I'm doing now, so I'm recording everything that's happening on my screen. Okay, everything will be included, so it's worth bearing in mind things like have your email alerts turned off, or just close your email, close Outlook Express, because what will happen is things will pop up in the corner and that will be captured in your recording and you probably won't want that. So what I would do, there you go, there's a good example. Battery stretch has just popped up there, so you wouldn't want that on a recording. So if I want to just go onto my extremely cluttered desktop, pick a PowerPoint slide, a PowerPoint deck. So I've picked a PowerPoint deck. This is something I've used for the PGCP. So all I would do, I would just simply go through my slides as I usually would. I would talk through them. I mean, because you have the editing facility, you don't need to be that worried about getting it right first time. As long as you're willing to have a play around with the editing functions, you can go back and you can take out anything you want to erase from your voiceover afterwards. So just talk through the slides, keep going through, and then when you're finished, you would click down here, find the little camera icon, and that'll allow you to turn off your recording when you want to. So I've made a slight error here because my Camtasia is set up so that it automatically records what's called smart focus or zoom and pan. And what that means is that the Camtasia tries to be quite clever and tries to guess when I might want to zoom in on things on the screen. So that means every time I click somewhere or I type somewhere, it'll zoom in on that. I'll give you an example here. These little blue dots here indicate all the times that that Camtasia has tried to guess. So if I play, you'll see that that zoom happened kind of automatically there. Now you might want some of these zooms, but in all likelihood you'd rather kind of choose your own. So what I'm going to do here is right click on the timeline and click on remove all keyframes. Then it says, are you sure you wish to remove all zoom and pan effects? And I can get rid of them. If along the way there are certain zoom pan features that I want to add in, I can do that manually by going to this option here on the left hand side, zoom and pan. So if for example I know at 2 minutes I want to zoom in, I'll click on zoom and pan, and then I will use this box on the left hand side to zoom in to where I want to focus on. I can use these here, And then I would click finished, and just to give you an example of what that will look like. There you go. And if I then wanted to zoom back out, I would need to insert another zoom and pan, which would revert to the old setting. So I'll just show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm putting zoom and pan, and then I'm just going to pull it back out to where it was before. So I want my full screen again this time. I don't want the zoom in effect. So you can see the green line is around the whole of the screen. So if I just go just before that, you'll see now that it's going to zoom out. There you go. As I said, it's better to add those in manually yourself than let Camtasia make those decisions for you. Now, when it comes to editing your video afterwards, so for example, if you know that you've said a few things that you want to remove, or you clicked on the wrong thing and you want to take that out, so it does take a bit of practice with this. The best thing to get started is to zoom in to the timeline, so you can see now that the timeline gets stretched out, so I get a better idea. So the editing feature is relatively intuitive. So if you know you've made a mistake, approximately 6 minutes and 40 seconds, you would just click on the timeline, left click where you think the mistake was, and then you would hold your left clicker and just drag across to when you want to stop the editing. Okay, so as I said, it's better for you to be as zoomed in as you can. So if we assume that little blue dot there is where I stuttered over a word, I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to left click, hold it, pull across, let go, and then I just go to the little scissor icon and I cut that out and it's gone. Okay, and then I can reverse it by going up to undo. Because as I said, it takes a bit of playing around, so you might find that first of all, you edit and you chopped a bit too much off, so you might want to go back to it and decrease it a little bit or increase it a little bit, so there's flexibility there, and you've always got the undo option if you need it. Other things you can do then, so what you might like to do with your video is to add in a title slide. So there's no need to be zoomed in for this, you can be pretty zoomed out actually. So what you would do then, you would go to title clips, and you can change the colour of your slide. So for example, I'm going to go for a purple one, and I'm going to go for white writing, that's fine. I'll click in the box and I'll write Camtasia video. Then I just click OK. Now this isn't on my timeline yet, it's just put into my clip bin. So what I need to do is to just pull it into the timeline wherever I want it. This is my first slide, so I want it at the beginning of my timeline, so I'd simply drag it in. And you can just see it down there, it's quite small. If I zoom in, I get to see a little bit more of it. The default for title clips is 4 seconds. I don't want it that long, so I'm going to go about 2 minutes in. I'm going to left click, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to cut that so it's not 4 seconds, it's only 2. What you might like to do as well to kind of tidy up your video and make it look a little bit more professional is to put in some transitions, and that's on the left hand menu here. So instead of having a very kind of sharp move from my title clip to my first video, I'm going to add in a nice transition. I've got a few choices here. Some of them are quite wacky. I tend to go for either fade through black or I quite like the cube rotate. I'll go fade through black, so I click on it with my left clicker and I simply pull it in to where I want it. That's where I want it. The transition between my first slide and my first video. And there you go. And then it'll give me a preview of it in the right hand window here. So you see that nice fade in. Okay, but I can choose whatever I want. If I want checkers, I want cube, so just have a play around and see what suits your video. And then when I'm done with it, I just click finished. I can add title slides at any point in my video. So if I know, for example, let me think, about 4 minutes in, I know that I really wanted to have a title slide there because I'm starting a new topic, for example. Okay, I can't add in a title slide straight away because this is a continuous video, but if I click on the timeline to where I want it and I go to this little icon which says split, what that means is now I can now pull in a title slide. So again, I would go and create one. This time I want it to be black, again with white writing, and I'm going to just put part 2, OK, and I'm going to drag it in, holding my left clicker. There you go. Again, it's 4 seconds. I might not want it that long, so I can delete some if I want to. Again, if I want to add transition, I would just go to transitions. I'd find the, okay, so there's my title slide. I've found it. This time I want to have a cube either side, so I'm just going to pull those in, and then it'll show me an example. You see, got that nice rotating feature there, which, as I say, will suit some videos and not others. And I just click finish. Other things you might like to do, for example, you might like to draw attention to a specific thing in your video by inserting some kind of diagram like an arrow. These are in Camtasia called callouts. So I would click on callouts, click on add, and then I'll just look for one here. So for example, I want an arrow, and I want my arrow to be bright pink. There you go. And then I can just, in the right screen, I can drag it around. I can make it smaller, and just have it pointing at whatever I want to point at. And then I would click finished. Now, when you add a call out, it gets added to your timeline down here. So I've got my video track, my zoom track, my call out track, and my audio track. I might decide that the arrow is on there for a bit too long. So again, all I would do is I can go to the right hand side, and I can drag it so it's there for less time. I can put it there for more time. I can hold on the arrow part, and I can just pull it around like that, so if it's in the wrong place entirely. So there's quite a lot of flexibility there with your callouts. The last thing then to show you is just how you would import media. So for example, you might have recorded something on a video camera that you want to bring into Camtasia for editing, and you can do that by using import media. Be mindful that it won't accept all types of files, so you might need to find some conversion software online and convert your video into a file type that Camtasia will accept. So I would just go import media, and I would look for a video file. There's one, for example. I would double click on it. That'll bring it into my clip bin over here, and I'll just do the same. I'll drag it into my timeline. You can bring in video, you can bring in music, and also bring in pictures. So if halfway through a video you just want a still image of something, you can drag that into. Now when I'm happy with my video, I want to produce it. So I'll go down here to produce video as, and then it'll ask me some of the same things it asked me when I initially started the Camtasia. So I'm going to stick with the custom, and I'm just going to click next, and I'll give it a name. I'll select where I want it to be saved to, and I'll just keep clicking next until it starts producing. Depending on the length of your video, you're doing a 60-minute lecture, for example, it could take a good 30 minutes for that to be produced. So just bear that in mind, that you do need to leave ample time for your videos to produce. When they produce, you'll be given a variety of formats. You'll be given Camtasia files, but you'll also be given an MP4. Those are what I tend to use. I use my MP4 to then upload to YouTube, and then that video is easily shared with people by sharing the URL. I can also then embed my videos if I want on Blackboard or on Moodle or on the intranet, so that's quite a good way to deal with the videos. So I hope that's been helpful. My final tip with Camtasia would be to save consistently as you're working on a project. it does have a tendency to crash, particularly if you're using lots of different videos, lots of different file formats, for example. It can get quite overloaded and you can end up in a situation, I found myself many times in a situation where it's crashed on me and I've lost 3 hours worth of editing. So just make sure you save, every 10 minutes or even more frequently than that. That'd be my final tip. Good luck with your editing.